It's time for us to create a more souped up weather app and where we don't engineer from the ground up and where we actually implement some libraries. So we're going to be adding quite a bit of the libraries to the Android Gradle. And I just need you to understand what these libraries are before you can actually use them. And you will see that you have actually hard coded, or not hard coded, but engineered what these libraries actually do. So the first one we're going to talk about is the retrofit. And as you can see here in the image, retrofit handles our connection to the API for us. So where we had to go and write a network utility class in the previous app and create a URL connection, actually do a GET request, we can actually let retrofit do that for us. So we import the retrofit guys that we need. There's actually 3 of them, and it gives us an HTTP client for Android. And not only does it make the connection to the web API for us, it also makes it easy to consume JSON by using POJOs, which is a plain old Java object. So these models we've been building all along, your class with your getters and setters is your POJO. So retrofit handles all of that for us, and retrofit does the mapping of JSON to Java objects or POJOs through JSON, which is Google's JSON converter. So you'll probably see that this is what it does. The API will handle GET requests, for us, POST requests, put, delete, and you'll actually see these annotations in our code. You will see we'll use add query as well. So we use retrofit to build our connection to the HTTP REST API. And when that request is made through retrofit, it is also returned through retrofit, and it is adapted through JSON into the Java objects for us. So we're no longer going to have to go do this whole shebang here where you actually, because I've only got a snippet of our previous app here where we work with the JSON array. So this is actually quite a bit of code, and you guys, I made you here really dig into JSON arrays, where if we use retrofit, it's a bit different. So if we will look at retrofit here, it takes a base URL, stuff that you would have seen before, and you will actually see that this is a singleton if you pay attention, because it has an instance of retrofit that it returns. But this is how easy it is to create a connection. You just have the retrofit builder, you give it the base URL, and you give it the factory that you want. We're going to have a callback as well, and you build it, and you return retrofit, and that replaces that entire HTTP connection class that we created, because we get to use JSON. So this is how easy it is to work with JSON. You can just have a JSON builder, and we can convert just in one little line. Oops, our JSON array. So it's a lot easier and a lot faster. And I'm happy for you guys to now start using JSON now that you understand how to actually parse JSON. The next guy that we're going to use is RxJava, reactive Java. And what that does is, if you remember, we had to create a whole separate thread, and we had to have a do and back while and on post execute methods to say you cannot do this before you've done that. And all of that had to run separately from the UI thread, or we'd have crashed this application. So basically, RxJava works with observers, observables, operators, and subscribers, stuff that you guys would have done quite thoroughly in C#. So we will have an observable, and we will subscribe to that observable, and that observable will tell us every time our data changes. So they're just going to tell you why should we consider RxJava. It is just basically handles threading for us, where we had to manually code the threading up before. So you will see here that we had to go and create async task, and because we extended the async task, we had to say we'd like a URL. We're passing it a URL. We do not care about updates in the middle, and we'd like to return a string, and then we had to implement the different methods to ensure that we had multiple threads. That will all be done for us with RxJava. The next thing that we're going to look at is Google Play services, just the location bit, so that we can use the Fuse location provider to return the device's location, because the next app we are going to write is going to give us the current weather 5 days worth of weather, implementing all of these libraries, and then weather per location as you move the device around. I'm sorry for the coughing. And then the next thing, the last thing we're going to use is the coordinator layout, which is for the UI and Android, which is pretty cool. The coordinator layout is a souped up frame layout. So if you think back to the previous app where we had to go make 2 frame layouts to put our fragments in the main activity, it was really, really technically done there. We're now going to use a coordinator layout, which is like the linear layout or the constraint layout. There's a layout known as the coordinator layout, and what's really cool about it is that it has animations, which is called behaviors, and it really makes it easier to work with tabs and fragments, which you guys will see when we actually start cutting up the app. So in the next video, we're going to set up everything we need for this application and start building it. So it will be one weather app with multiple tabs that gives us multiple options of weather. Implementing third-party libraries so that we don't build stuff up from the ground. You know, it's like, I know I forced you to do that in the first app, but that's so that you can learn. Your boss won't like that. You're going to have to implement libraries to be really, really fast. And that's what we will do in the next video.